Latin spoken in the Backrooms.
Salvete quicunque estis, bonum erga vos voluntatem habemus.
Why is there Latin spoken in the Backrooms? That just makes this movie even creepier. I actually really liked the movie The Backrooms, and I knew exactly what this was as soon as I heard it. Well, actually, I had to hear a couple of the languages spoken. This is the Golden Record, a recording from the Golden Record on the Voyager probes. That record contained a number of sounds and images and also greetings, 55 greetings, 55 different languages greetings from around the world, including in Latin and Ancient Greek.
Et pacem per astra ferimus, echidai hui an aur aganoisoi.
And while we were watching this in the theater, I leaned over to Irene and I said, "E la sonda spaziale Voyager, incredibile." I was really excited. You can hear the full recording on Wikipedia. Let's listen to the whole Latin part.
Salvete quicunque estis, bonum erga vos voluntatem habemus, et pacem per astra ferimus.
Now, I would swear this would be a German, possibly a Dutch speaker. The S almost sounds a little bit retracted, but Germans can have a retracted S as well. So I would have leaned towards German if the name of each person's recording weren't there, and a certain Frederick Michael Ahl, 1941 to 2025, was an American classical scholar who was professor of classics and comparative literature at Cornell University. How about that? He was American, and he sounds pretty German. He does the V, but he also has the hard C, so I assume this was just the pronunciation that was a little bit more common, perhaps at the time, in academic circles. In any case, that's pretty cool. Salvete quicunque estis. Hello, whoever you are. Bona erga vos voluntate habemus. Good towards you all will we have. Et pacem per astra ferimus. And peace through the stars we bear. That's nice. And, amazingly, he recorded the Welsh as well as the Ancient Greek recording that's on the record. I love that they had time for ancient languages when there's so many living languages they could have chosen to. I'm happy. But before we do the Ancient Greek, I need to tell you about the Ancient Language Institute, the sponsor of today's video. The Ancient Language Institute teaches Biblical Hebrew, Old English, and of course Latin and Ancient Greek. New cohorts for all 4 languages are starting at the end of August for the fall term, but you have to sign up by August 15th. And what we do is not merely to read a translation or something like that. No, we teach you to read the language in the original, which is one of the most amazing and incredible experiences of my life, that I can actually read Latin and Ancient Greek, and thanks to Colin Gorey, the head of the Old English department, Old English as well. And when you're ready for them, the higher literature, including Plutarch and Plato, Herodotus, Daphnis and Chloe, Sophocles, the Iliad, Cicero, Sallust, and Virgil. I just think it's so cool to be able to talk about the literature entirely in the target language with my students, and that's something that is in store for you. And also check out the Echo app with audio recordings in Old English by Colin Gorey and in Ancient Greek by yours truly. Hours and hours of recordings of poetry and prose, both Christian literature and pagan. Find out more about Echo as well as all of the programs that we have at Ancient Language Institute at the links in the description. Now let's listen to more of the Golden Record, specifically the Ancient Greek, which is the second language on the record. The first one, you'll never guess. It's Sumerian.
Silema chemen. Oitinis poteste chairete. Eirenikos pros philos eleluthamen philoi.
Paz e felicidade a todos.
Felicidades a todos. That's fantastic. Not just the Portuguese, but the fact that there's Ancient Greek on the record. So what is Professor Frederick Ahl saying in this recording? He's saying, Hoitines poteste cairete, iranikos pros pilus elelutamen piloi, which means, whoever you are, hello. Iranikos, peacefully, pros pilus, to friends, elelutamen, we have come, piloi, friends, that is, as friends. And I was also struck by this hoitines poteste, which I thought I had recognized, but I was like, I don't think I've seen that very often. So I went to TLG, Thesaurus Linguae Graecae, incredible tool, and I looked it up, and I was shocked to see that Hoitines poteste, it only occurs one time. It's certainly, I think, a very, very useful phrase and could be used in a lot of different circumstances. So even though it's technically, as written, a hapax tegomenon, that's structurally and productively, it's not necessarily that rare, but exactly this wording occurs one time in the whole corpus, and it's an Ephesian tale by Xenophon of Ephesus, Book 3. Which I think is amazing because I love an Ephesian tale. I think it's one of the best ways for students to progress out of the end of the beginner stage and into the intermediate stage of their development in the ancient Greek studies. In fact, I have a whole video course just for an Ephesian tale, Book 1, and Book 2 is coming soon. A full immersion course, Ancient Greek Immersion, Baptismos, and you can check that out at lukeranieri.com. So something I've always wondered is, how were aliens supposed to read the Golden Record? That is, to listen to it. And, well, NASA has a whole webpage for that. And essentially, the instructions for how to build a phonograph player are on the record, which is remarkable. Let's have a look. Okay, so explanation of the recording cover diagram. So, binary code defining the proper speed, 3.6 seconds rotation to the turn of the record. Hold on, let me zoom in on here a bit. Which is associated with the fundamental transition of the hydrogen atom. This is brilliant stuff. Carl Sagan was obviously behind this. So this is what it looks like from above. You know, I mean, they're doing the best they can, which is admirable. This diagram defines location of our sun, utilizing the 14 pulsars known in directions from our sun. And the binary code defines frequency of the pulses. This is something that is very similar to what they did in the movie Project Hail Mary, where the alien tries to communicate with Ryan Gosling's character to explain, oh, this is my planet, this is where it's located, where's yours, and they figured it out together. Really cool stuff. I mean, how do you communicate? How do the instructions of building something when you don't even speak the same language, and but the universality of mathematics and physical properties is assumed, and I just think that's brilliant. Look at this stuff. This is terrific. This diagram illustrates the two lowest states of the hydrogen atom. The vertical lines with the dots indicate the spin moments of the proton and the electron. Brilliant stuff. I just loved that the Voyager Golden Record, Greetings in 55 Languages, was in the background.
Salvete qui cumque estis, bonum erga vos voluntatem habemus, et pacem per astra ferimus.
Assalamu alaikum. Wa aluki trafse apo.
Chân thành với các bạn lời chào thân hữu.
There's something so old school about that recording. It sounds old-fashioned. Even when Carl Sagan's son, Nick Sagan, gives the final greeting at the very end of the record, the greetings from the children of planet Earth.
Hello from the children of planet Earth.
That's lovely. And I remember hearing that when I was a kid, because my grandmother would record the Nova programs from PBS, which I didn't get up here in the country, but closer to Philadelphia where she was, she actually got them and recorded them for me. So I'm very grateful to her that I was able to see, like on the Voyager probes and all these other things that just captured my imagination. It was so... just like the Backrooms, it just has this weird and twisted version of reality, hearing something so optimistic and fundamentally so beautiful.
Konnichiwa. O genki desu ka?
And that environment was so unsettling and so perfect. It was even weirder after I recognized what it was. I felt less comfortable, which was exactly what the movie was supposed to do. I can also recommend Kane Parsons' original Backrooms series. He's the director. He's only 20, a YouTuber. Fantastic guy. And he did with Blender almost all of his videos on his channel before getting hired to be the director and the filmmaker for the Backrooms horror movie, which is amazing. So, hey, look at that. Latin and ancient Greek everywhere we go. And just as wonderful, science and space, the Voyager probes, hydrogen atoms, all of it vibrating together harmoniously. It's a wonderful thing. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks especially to each and every one of my Patreon supporters. And thanks again to the Ancient Language Institute for supporting this video. Eroste valete.
Silima gemen, oitinis poteste, chairete, eirenikos pros philos eleluthamen philoi.
Paz e felicidade a todos.
各位好嘛，祝各位
Tanti auguri e saluti.
Adanish lushulmu.
Здравствуйте. Приветствую вас.
สวัสดีค่ะสหายนายธรณีพลพวกเราในธรณีนี้ขอส่งมิตรจิตมาถึงท่านทุกคน
تحياتنا للأصدقاء في النجوم يا ليت يجمعنا الزمان.
Salutări la toată lumea.
Bonjour tout le monde.
Mai lakmia.
Shalom.
Hola y saludos a todos.
Selamat malam hadirin.
Kay Pacematna. Herzliche Grüße an alle.
Audigiano.
Ashuli.
Namaskar. Bishe Shanti Ho.
Salvete quicumque estis. Bonam erga vos voluntatem habemus, et pacem per astra ferimus.
Shalom.
Hello from the children of planet Earth.